our volunteers and judges are getting ready for our very first athletes out today. From the United States, please welcome Ali Nishi on women's number 1 and Guy McNamee on men's number 1.
Panamerican Climbing Championships Youth B Final. Full house. 4 minutes. Let's wrestle some boulders.
That timer's begun at the mark of the judges, and now the climbers are ready to get started. These climbers being the first ones out means that they were the 6th place qualifiers. As the climbers come out today, you'll be finding the higher and higher scoring athletes, culminating in our top qualifiers from semifinals. Ali Nishi looking good, managing to get into the corner on women's number 1, and Guy McNamee getting really high on his very first attempt, effectively earning the top so long as he can keep the balance, and that's a top right off the bat with a flash for Guy McNamee of Canada on men's number 1. 3 minutes, 14 seconds left on the clock for Ali Nishi.
Come on, girl. Yes, looking good.
Getting one hand on it, but really got to make sure the entire body is balanced. Excellent work from Ali Nishi of the United States.
And we just keep rolling. Come on out. Back up.
And because we're not running the 4-on or the 5-on, 5-off format, we can bring out our next athletes the second the brushes are finished. So our next athletes on men's and women's number 1 from Canada, Babette Roy on women's number 1, and Nathan Surma from the United States. Apparently he goes by Nathan or Nathaniel, so if he tops stuff, I'll call him Nathan, and if he's having some trouble, I'll act like his parents and go with the full name approach. Call him Nathaniel.
That's from Montreal. Local. Don't spook the climbers by making any noise at all. All right, Nathaniel. Solid. 3 backs. Nice. Come on, Nathaniel.
Nathaniel Surma also matching Guy's performance on men's number 1. Looks like he could be in for an easy top as well. Excellent start for these climbers. Great work from Nathaniel. An interesting dynamic of climbs like these, when you get the earlier climbers out scoring those tops. The athletes in ISO, they can still hear those cheers, so they know that tops are happening and they're getting success early on, especially as the timers getting cut down so early. So those later athletes will know there's pressure to achieve a top on their first attempt, otherwise they're going to be behind. Canada is seeing representation in the finals today from all 4 of our big provinces. We've got climbers from British Columbia, Alberta, Ontario, and Quebec. Babette Roy on the wall right now from right here in Montreal. Bit of a hometown favorite.
Yeah, Babette. Come on, girl. There you go.
And there's another secure top for Babette Roy.
All right. We've got Paige Bockleshuk.
Next up from Canada, from Alberta is Paige Bockleshuk, and from the United States, Emiliano Espinoza Dominguez.
All right, let's go. Come on, Paige. Nice, Paige.
if you guys are following along at home. Of course, it might be hard to keep track of the scores because my memory's not that great and it's a lot of climbers to keep track of today. But you can always visit ifse-climbing.org to find the scores. You want to follow the link for competition and scroll down to the button for calendar. At that point, you will find the scores for this event. If you scroll down, this is the Panamerican Youth Championships, and from there the scores are organized by category. So in this case, male B Boulder and female B Boulder. Nathan Surma making it look good now. Looks like he's going to walk away with a top as well. Or sorry, Emiliano Espinoza. I take 1 second to step away to change the music, and I'm already losing track of the names. Emiliano walks away with a top. And Paige Boklaschuk with 2 minutes and 32 seconds left on the clock, trying to figure out how she's going to approach these sections of women's number 1. Again, she's throwing up into 2 sloper plates on the bottom of that large dimension volume, which really don't offer much purchase. So you mostly have to make sure all your weight is on your feet. And at that point, she's going to be reaching out to a left-facing Kumiki crimp and trying to manipulate her feet so that she can move herself over towards the left wall. But with such small feet and that little volume, not providing a lot of downward possibility, you got to really be confident in where you're placing your toes. The dynamic option, which although tempting because you're moving from a big foothold to, of course, a giant wall, it is a big stretch. You got to have strong hips to make that go. 1 minute, 41 seconds left. Paige really committing with the right foot now onto that volume. She's going to get into the corner and achieve the bonus probably. I'm not sure if they gave it on that graze. She'll probably have to give it a little more use. There we go. That looks like a bonus to me. And so long as she can keep herself together with 59 seconds left on the clock, she can earn a top on this attempt.
Yes. Yeah, girl. Come on, Paige.
And that's 2 hands and a top with under a minute left for Paige Boklaschuk of Canada. Excellent work. Next out on the wall, we've got 2 Americans. For the boys, you got Colin Duffy. He's the 3rd place qualifier coming into today, and also a 3rd place qualifier from the States, Marielle Horstman. Colin Duffy's put on an excellent show this week. He's one of the shorter climbers for the event, and that's led to some really interesting beta. Maybe it's sometimes at a disadvantage, but often looks like he's pretty used to his stature and making some stuff happen that a lot of us probably wouldn't expect was possible. Colin Duffy showing some frustration off the bat. He's probably aware that that problem's been flashed a couple times already and probably knows in his head that he just gave up a lead for now at least by not achieving top on the first attempt. Marielle also backing off after her first attempt. 3 minutes, 22 seconds on the clock. Colin sticks that big extension dynamic reach for him. And at that point, he should probably be smooth sailing through the rest of this problem. Gets the bonus, no problem. This is his 2nd attempt. Marielle Horstman as well, and her 2nd attempt getting over to the left wall. Looks like she got bonus with that. Colin getting into the 2nd last hold and getting his feet way high. And Marielle contemplating how she wants to set up to get both hands on that top. Colin considering maybe a bit of a dynamic move. But that final block's volume is the worst of the 4 on the wall. He's got to make sure he moves into that static. Seeing if he can get the opposition with the left foot. Makes it happen. A little smack in the forehead for not getting on the first attempt, but he's got it done. And Marielle Horstman follows up shortly after with a top on women's number 1 as well.
All right, next up, Seattle.
Our second place qualifiers from the day from the United States, Sienna Kopp and Ethan Freudenheim.
Those are hotel towels. You guys are going to have to report that when you leave. That you did that to the hotel towels. Here we go, 4 minutes. CC, Ethan. Definitely hotel towels.
Excellent start for Ethan and for Sienna, although looking a little shaky there with the thumbs on those undercling slopers, and Ethan just cruising through this thing. Gonna get one hand out to the top in just a moment if he can keep it together, looking great. And even without finding opposition on the left holds, he's gonna lock it down with the top. Sienna takes a bit of a fall. 3 minutes, 18 seconds left.
If I had biceps like that at that age, I'd do that too. No doubt. CC.
Sienna Kopp managing to get a bit of that stretch that Paige Boklaschuk was trying earlier, but not able to get out of it. 2 minutes, 47 seconds left. And again, if you guys are watching at home, make some noise about it. Throw it up on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. Let's try and drive up the viewership for this. The more people watching and the more people talking about it means it's easier for us to get sponsors and support so that we can put on more events like this. Continents like Europe and Asia can manage to have an event like this every single year. For us, it's been 3 years since the last Pan American Championships. And if we want to do more of these, we need to make sure that sponsors know that there's support for what they're getting behind. And an excellent top from Sienna, cruising through that chimney section in the corner. Great work.
The U.S. t-shirts that they put together to come to this event are red and white. I hope that was a little Canadian nod.
And now we're getting down to our final two climbers for these first problems of the day. From the United States, we see Nakaya Sanders and Xander Waller. Xander Waller yesterday was the only climber of all 6 categories to get all 4 tops of his semifinal round. And you could see a lot of celebration on his face as he came off the very difficult men's 4. So I think he's feeling confident today, knowing he could conquer so many climbers yesterday. He's psyched up and ready to go for some great attempts. Nakaya Sanders also the first place qualifier, so knowing that she's got some good placing to build on. And of course, an excellent tiebreaker in case we end up getting some ties in this round. Sitting in first place from the previous round is always a good spot to be in. Xander controlling the bonus and probably going to match the previous flashes we've seen on this problem. Nakaya Sanders taking it slow and steady over on women's number 1. Tries to go into the splits, but just doesn't quite keep her weight on the inside of the corner. Xander slowing it down, finding some good positioning and trying to secure the top on men's 1. And just misses with his hand on the top. 2 minutes and 29 seconds left. No doubt he'll be able to score that top later, but missing out on the flash will put him at a disadvantage at least from this first round. Nakaya Sanders on her second attempt, I believe. Working her way up through that corner. One hand on top, the second, and that's an excellent top for Nakaya Sanders of the United States. 2 minutes, 9 seconds left. If anybody's unfamiliar with how the scoring works for this event, the most important thing to achieve are tops. You'll see at the end of all these problems, there's a piece of blue tape with a blue roundel beside it that says top. That's basically the most important type of score you can get. The person with the most tops is in a really good spot. Now, if you get people that tie, let's say 2 people happen to get 3 tops in the competition, we're going to break that tie by the number of attempts it took them to achieve that top. So if somebody got that on their very first try, they're going to place higher than somebody that took 2 tries to get it. So far for the women, Nikaya Sanders, Marielle Horseman, Babette Roy, and Ali Nishi are all tied up in first place after the first problem with the top in 2 attempts. Ali Nishi looking excellent, managing that running start, no problem on her very first try. Looks like she's dealing with the layback, no problem as well. And Guy McNamee starting to get into the area where he's going to have to come up around the corner. Just doesn't quite make the finish. Guy McNamee still working. So far for the boys after the first problem, Ethan Freudenheim, Nathaniel Surma, and Guy McNamee are tied up with the flash on problem number 1. Of course, all boys achieve top, so they're not too far apart, but those boys are leading due to the number of attempts it took them to get up to the top of that climb. Guy McNamee really working. The stuff he's holding on to is tiny, tiny little crimps in his left hand and his right, and the smallest foot you could imagine in his right, basically not much larger than a screw head. He's going to have to put all of his weight onto that and rock over to get into this crimp, which he does. Now, so long as the right foot is confident, he's going to be able to pull himself into the right and get a hand on that Finnish Kamiki volume. Opposing with the left foot, pushing into the finish with 2 hands, and that's a top for Guy McNamee on his first attempt of men's number 2. Another great top from Canada. And with 2 flashes, it means at the very least he's going to be tied with someone. Nobody can really beat him so far with these first 2 problems, but of course 2 more problems to go, and anything can happen.
Here we go, here we go.
Ali Nishi again approaching the finish on women's number 2. And the volume she's reaching up to on the top really has no texture on it. It's not something you're probably going to want to pull down upon. Underneath it is an entreprise crimp, which is likely going to be used for your thumbs, or if you're really brave, you might try and crimp it with your fingers. But I feel like that would pull you back a little too much. Ali's going to have to get her left foot up higher. There is another foothold right by her waist at the moment. You might be able to see it depending on the camera angle. But imagine right where her hips are, there is another red foot screwed onto that large black feature. So if she can bring that foot up, or maybe just smearing into that feature, it is textured, it's got some undulation, she might find a spot to stand on. 1 minute, 17 seconds left. But she's going to lay back for now, try and compose herself and chalk up. Not quite making it go. 1 minute, 2 seconds left. I was talking to the head coach of Team Canada earlier today as we were surveying these problems, and I wasn't sure if he was excited to say he saw this running problem, but I think he knew it was coming. Most competitions these days you will see a problem that'll start with a launch off some holds where you then have to run across some volumes with no hands. And it's something that head coach Chris Neve has been making sure the kids are prepared for. You're pretty well guaranteed to run into it if you're doing a 3-round competition. Somewhere in those 13 problems, you should expect at least one of them. Ali Nishi manages to get the foot up with only 6 seconds left on the clock. She's got to make this happen and demonstrate control before the timer runs out, but not quite, and she's going to be walking away with no top. She did achieve the bonus on the first attempt, but no top for Ali Nishi on women's number 2. Next on the wall from the United States is Nathaniel Surma, and from Canada is Babette Roy.
Here we go.
While you guys are watching, if you have any issues with the stream, if the audio or the video seems to not be working, we don't have a chat enabled for the video, but you can always just tweet me personally at Plastic Weekly, and I'll see if I can sort stuff out for you. Or if you just have questions about how the climbers are doing or how the comp is running, I'd be happy to answer those as well. Or if you've got some hilarious facts about these kids that we can use to ruin their self-esteem and embarrass them over the internet, that would be hilarious as well. Babette Roy winding up and starts to run across but doesn't quite hit the landing hold.
Nice, Nathaniel.
Nathan Surma looking pretty collected, coming around the corner into the further volumes here in the underside of this little cave. Babette sticks the run and gets her hand on the large black feature, which is the bonus, so she gets bonus on her second attempt. And now she just has to set up and see if she can get the top that eluded her previous competitor, Ali Nishi. Nathaniel really trying to figure out his positioning in this corner. Lots of stuff to press against, but not much stuff to pull on. So getting into position kind of requires a different set of muscles and a lot of climbing uses. Just trying to get himself wound into the correct position. He's getting his hands set up and now going to have to confront that right foot. But Babette getting one hand on the finish, trying to make sure she's got balance with those feet. Going to try a bit of a foot switch. Keeps it together, snags the heel hook, and locks it down for the first top of women's number 2 on her second attempt. Great work from Babette. Meanwhile, Nathan backs off, although he did achieve the bonus. Won't get the top on his first try. 2 minutes, 8 seconds left on the clock. In a round like this one, only 4 minutes, these top competitors are well aware that you got to add in not just climbing time, but also resting time. So that 4 minutes really gets divided in good attempts and also the rest you need to make sure your attempts are good. Can't just run onto the wall over and over and over, burning energy. Each attempt will only get worse in that case. So as Nathan fell, he set himself up for some time to chalk, look over the problem, get himself refocused and comfortable to take this next attempt with 1 minute and 19 seconds left. And a reminder that this is a hard 4 minute limit, so if he's on the wall when the timer goes, time is up. He is not allowed to keep climbing as they may have done in previous years. That's the 1 minute warning. Trying to sort out the feet, wondering if he wants to get the foot up early, but he's going to try and get that undercling with the low feet, which is going to be really difficult. It won't work out. 41 seconds left on the clock. He's going to have to decide if he wants to put in a last-minute attempt. And he's going to back off. Probably a good decision and save that energy for the following climbs. We're only on climb number 2 of 4 for these climbers, so lots more action to come. Back on the wall for women's number 2 is Paige Boklaschuk of Canada. And hailing from Dallas, Texas, of the United States, is Emiliano Espinoza Dominguez. So far, both problems have been topped by one climber. We'll see if Paige can keep it together to hit the bonus on her first attempt and make that run look clean. Looking good, but didn't quite keep her weight into the wall and swinging a little too far out as she reached that jug. Emiliano throwing heels, which is terrifying considering how small that foothold is. Paige misses on her second attempt. And Paige manages to lock down the run and the bonus on her third attempt. Emiliano's still on his first, but pops off because I guess I jinxed him. Paige trying to sort out how she's going to use this big feature. As we've seen, it's a layback, which means you have to get your weight from the right side of it to the left side, which looks like she's doing pretty well right now. That big feature's got a bunch of ridges on it that mean you could find maybe some spots to stand, but the route setters have been nice and added a couple little red footholds to it. One at her left foot and one where she's getting her right foot way up there, but leads to a bit of a barn door as her balance moves out and she'll get popped off. 2 minutes, 10 seconds left.
Come on now. 9.
And Emiliano gets spit off again at the same spot as his previous attempt. He'll be looking at attempt number 3. And Paige, I believe, now starting attempt number 4. But can't hold the swing this time. 1 minute, 39 seconds remaining.
Yes, Paige.
Paige sticks it this time on her 5th attempt.
We are
Getting back into where she was before. 1 minute, 18 seconds left.
Come on, Mello, you got this. Come on, Paige. All right.
1 minute, 5 seconds. The climbers come off now. They probably have a chance to get back on.
Come on now. Come on, finish it up.
But I know they want this to be their last attempt, finishing it with a top, hopefully. Paige trying to scrape her way up, finding some, or trying to find some place to step on that volume. Going for the pop, which is going to be very unlikely again. Grabbing that finish hold from the top is probably the least likely thing that will happen. You really got to get your weight up high, standing on those feet, and really just using your thumbs on that finish hold to keep yourself from falling off the wall. But that hold itself isn't going to support much of your weight. You got to be standing pretty confidently. 18 seconds left. They really got to make something happen, but they're both going to, or Emiliano's going to back off at least, but Paige is going to go for it one more time. We'll see if she can figure something out at the last minute, but it doesn't quite go. That'll be the end of their attempts. No tops for Paige or Emiliano on problem number 2. From the United States now, we got Colin Duffy coming to men's number 2, and also from the USA, Marielle Horseman.
Now you can turn around. All right, Colin, show us what you can do. Marielle.
Colin looking steady as he gets into the problem. Marielle taking a moment to get acquainted with the foot layout for the start, and almost looked like she'd hold that on her first attempt. Sure she'll get it on her second.
Yes.
Colin sorting out the roof section
Nice.
of men's number 2, which I can't see very well from my vantage point, so I can just see his head popping out from around the corner. Marielle takes her next attempt and locks down the run.
There you go, Colin.
Colin looking excellent, taking a moment to lay back and rest and chalk up. And if he can get this reach from that low foot, he might just be able to walk himself out onto the face. But he's running out of foot options, going for a bit of a foot and knee scum, but it's not going to be enough to control that. He's got to reposition somehow. Not sure if he can do it with the step through, but he's going to make it happen anyways. A little bit of Duffy magic. He gets a flash on men's number 2, which would help make up for missing the flash on his first problem. Marielle now approaching the finish with 2 minutes and 42 seconds left.
Come on, girl, go get some. Ooh, not quite, not quite.
And again, seeing throws to that finish hold on women's number 2 is not going to work out. You got to make sure your weight is supported directly underneath you. 2 minutes, 16 seconds left for Marielle to figure that out.
All right, 2 minutes, Marielle.
Marielle Horseman coming from Massachusetts. If you remember the last name Horseman, she's got an older sister, Bimini, who's a fixture on the American climbing scene as well. So it's a family affair out there in Massachusetts. Excited to have both of them at the Pan Ams this year. Excellent run from Marielle. 1 minute 41 seconds left.
All right, come on now. Get yourself sorted.
Looks like she's in a stable position, but maybe a bit nervous because she's not quite sure how she wants to approach getting this other foot up. 1 minute 16 seconds left.
Come on, Marielle, dig deep, girl.
Gonna try for the right foot beta. That really exposes you to a barn door and it just pulls her off.
All right, it's all right.
Curious what it is about that hold that stops so many girls from trying to get the left foot up to that highest little foothold. 56 seconds remaining. With 34 seconds left, this will probably be Marielle's final attempt on women's number 2.
Come on, go and get it. That's 20 seconds. Come on, girl. It's got to be now. Come on, let's go. Come on, Marielle.
Down to 12 seconds, falls off, and she's going to have to call it.
Marielle,
Great attempts from Marielle. We'll be moving on to our second place qualifiers from yesterday. Ethan Freudenheim and Sienna Kopp, both from the USA. United States definitely the dominant team here at the Pan American Championships. Fortunately, some of my homeboys from Canada are showing up as well. We're seeing some this round and in the next couple rounds as well. And some excellent talent coming from Central and South America, and we'll see some of them in the later rounds of bouldering and, of course, in the following days in speed and difficulty. Oh, and Sienna just missing the foot placement coming around that, but just having a bit of a laugh after that, that little spin. Ethan looking good at the start of men's 2.
no thing, CC, no thing. Just work it out.
3 minutes, 19 seconds left. Let's make this happen. Sienna, there we go. Sticks that launch. She can get the bonus. There we go. Ethan backs off. He achieved the bonus, but won't be getting the top on his first attempt. 2 minutes, 55 seconds left.
Here we go. Sienna.
And again, this is a really comfortable position for the girls. They got some confidence in their feet and their hands, but it's really moving up to get your feet a little bit higher. It really feels like it's exposing you. It makes those hands worse as you get the weight up. And she gives it a shot, but can't quite hold it. And she'll be off. 2 minutes, 18 seconds left. Ethan getting taped up. He probably got a little scrape on his finger, but climbers aren't allowed to climb if they've got open wounds. So judges tape him up, and he's ready to go. Looks like he's not bothered at all. Sienna confidently getting back to where she was before.
All right, Sienna. Come on, go get it. Come on, finish up.
Now she just got to make this happen. Going for the desperate throw, which we know hasn't worked yet. Don't think it's going to work now. She's got to figure out a way to get those feet up to support the weight. But meanwhile, Ethan doing excellent work coming around the corner onto the orange face, getting the feet in the right spot and pressing into that finish volume for an excellent emotive top from Ethan Freudenheim. Happy to now have 2 tops. 1 minute, 11 seconds left for Sienna. Just 58 seconds remaining. Lots of time for her to contemplate how to achieve this top. She's looking at this upper foothold, and she knows it's there for a reason. But often, mentally and physically, it can be hard to address those things. This is looking like an excellent setup, both feet high. She can just manage to find a way to drive off the left foot, but not this time. She's got 34 seconds left. It looks like she's going to give it a shot. Brusher's giving one last scrub. Trying to clean off any excess chalk for her. She's really under the pressure now. She knows it. 23 seconds to go. Doing these sections by memory at this moment, taking a moment to get herself composed, and now she's going to try and move in, but she's not getting that foot high enough and misses on her final attempt. Excellent work from Sienna and Ethan this round. We're down to our first place qualifiers. Again, both from the United States, Nakaya Sanders and Xander Waller.
Just like that, we're back to our top two.
So again, in this format, of course, it's different because all the climbers effectively climb one problem together after each other, and then they move on to the next problem. The other big difference is that they've actually had a chance to see these problems before climbing them. In the qualifying and semifinals round, they're given 5 minutes to climb a problem, but they have never seen it before, so they really have 5 minutes to entirely look at and understand and figure out and climb a problem. This time around, they had their preview, which you may have seen earlier in the stream. So back in isolation where they're resting and warming up, they can mentally put this together and try and get themselves sorted out for these climbs, which hopefully leads to increased performance on the wall, hopefully more tops. Really good first attempt from Nakaya, but just a little too much swing out. Doubt she'll make that mistake on the second try. Nice job from Nakaya sticking that. Getting her hand to the black volume will give her the bonus. Moving into the layback. While Xander's moving through the cave. And we'll see how Nakaya interprets this section, if she's going to go for a desperate throw or if she's going to try and use that foot right in front of her.
Come on, Daddy, stay in there. Come on, dude.
Very common in climbers to rely on habits that they have that they're comfortable with rather than using the beta right in front of them. We'll see if Nakaya uses that foothold by her hips. That can't be for anything else but for standing on for the finish. Let's see if she makes it happen.
Here we go. Come on, girl. Come on, squeeze that.
2 minutes, 17 seconds left on the clock.
Come on. Trying everything. Oh, it's all right.
Just slips off. That big black feature on the right side has a bit of a kind of raised bumps along the edge, so there's some places to grab it. A bit like a bit of a sloper jug, but it gets greasy pretty fast if you're resting that long on it, so you really got to get out of there as fast as you can. Xander back into the steep on men's number 2. Dealing with some big volumes and tiny crimps. Getting into a good spot. So long as he can make the feet work, he should be able to reach up to the first crimps on the face of this orange section. Gets that right foot, which is smaller than an M&M. Heel hooking off it, which is not something I would be confident doing, but these kids are way stronger than I am. And he's going to go for the pull with the heel if he sticks. Oh. Hopefully going for the toe next time. 58 seconds left for these climbers. Nakaya also pops off. Down to probably the final attempts for these climbers. Nakaya taking some time to brush her own holds. I guess she thinks the brushers have been working too hard, so she's going to take it unto herself to do that work for her. 37 seconds left. Nakaya really coming down to it. She's going to have to make some decisive moves if she wants to finish this where she didn't before. Xander, let's see if he goes for the heel or the toe on the tiny little foot jib. Looks like he's thinking about reaching up to the undercling, but backs off.
Come on, Xander, squeeze.
It looks like he's going for the toe, which I'm happy about. That's how I would do it. Nakaya pops off with 10 seconds left. That's her last attempt, but Xander now with 8 seconds left. Let's see if he can pull up on this thing and make it happen. 5 seconds. He's got to get both hands in control to earn this. 1 second left, and he's going to be given the top by the judges. Crimps, and I can't emphasize how small they are. Not only are they small, but they're not particularly in cut. He gets one hand on the finish, and if he can keep the feet, he might just get the match on this tiny little thing, trying to figure out how he wants to position his body. Really desperate foot, holding a bit of a swing, and they're going to give it to him. A third flash for the British Columbian Guy McNamee. Congratulations to him. Meanwhile, Ali Nishi scores the top on her second attempt on women's number 3. And just like problem 1, we are cruising through these great tops from our first competitors, Ali and Guy. Excellent work. And a huge thanks to all of the volunteers that are here. You see a lot of them brushing, and of course all of our judges are volunteers as well. Climbing is a sport that really depends on volunteers, so if you happen to be in the Montreal area over the next few days, of course this event runs through Sunday, so if you're around, maybe if you're a parent of one of the climbers and you need something to do to stop yourself from freaking out over your kid's performance, or maybe you're a part of the climbing community here in Montreal, and you want to start learning some skills that will help you get involved in international competition, please go to climbingpanam17.com and register your interest as a volunteer, even just for a couple hours. Even as a brusher, you don't have to have previous training as a judge or anything. We just would love to have you helping out, moving athletes around, helping manage the crowds, brushing, maybe helping up the route setters with all the work they're doing. We'd love to have you. So please consider it, and thanks, of course, to all of the volunteers who are here today. Now on men's and women's number 3 from Canada, Babette Roy, and from the United States, Nathan Surma. We'll see if Nathaniel can make it look as easy as Guy did. Nathaniel looking real good so far, securing bonus on his first attempt. Trying to sort out how he's going to use his feet. He is stepping on a foot jib in his lower right foot, but that really, including the volume of the angle, is just a vertical face. You're not really able to step down on much. Nathaniel using slightly different beta than Guy did. He's going to try for a bit of a cross here. He'll need to figure out his feet to give him some momentum to get him out to the left to the top. Babette, meanwhile, on the second last hold, and so long as she can control this move, going to get one hand on the finish, matching it up for another flash on women's number 3. Great score for Canada. And Nathan's going to be doing his best to get his top on men's 3 on his second attempt. 2 minutes, 28 seconds remaining on the clock. Not just the volunteers, but I want to thank the local organizing committee who put everything together. I got to give a thanks to Maria Izquierdo, who is the project director at Accès Escalade Montreal, which is the organizing body for this event. Also to Valerie Laforge, Eric Lachance, Christine Deschênes, Paloma Izquierdo, Mathilde Cambis, Vinciane de Stoop, and Anshuza for all their help in organizing the volunteers, the tech issues, straight up managing the events, helping out with the athlete and team services, the crowdfunding, coordinating with all the suppliers. You guys did so much work, and we're seeing it all come together here at this excellent Pan-American Championship that all these climbers can be proud of. 1 minute, 43 seconds left as Nathaniel Surma gets ready for his second attempt on M3.
Let's go, let's go. Solid.
This climb made almost exclusively of Bloc's volumes and Entreprise crimps, both supporters of this event. Another nice try, but those crimps really do get bare towards the top. And those 3 upper crimps, well, the 4 upper crimps, I guess bonus and the 3 after, are kind of large plates with little tiny screw jibs added onto them. So maybe angles that are a little unfamiliar for some of the climbers. They may have seen the holds before, but not in this combination. And 1 minute left for Nathan Surma.
All right, Nathaniel. All right, here we go, here we go. Come on, keep it up.
47 seconds, likely Nathan's last attempt. This is a powerful problem, and likely won't have energy if he falls to do this again. See if he can control these crimps. Looking a little shaky. Try again, looks like he's going to go for that cross beta, but the right foot pops out. And he's going to have to back off with 30 seconds left, but excellent attempt from Nathan. And we're going to be moving on to our next athletes. We got a huge crew, an international team making up the technical team. Big ups to Paul Leday. He's the jury president for the event from Canada. From Ecuador, our technical delegate, Cosme Maia, and we've got an assistant technical delegate from Canada in Sebastian Powell. Thanks to Bruce Mitchell, one of the IFSC officials, as well as Babak Zia, an IFSC official who's also managing the timer system from Iran, and also Eric Lachance, the technical coordinator from here in Quebec. Now out on the wall from Canada, Paige Boklaschuk, and from the United States, Emiliano Espinoza Dominguez. And even though that left volume for Paige has a screw on each side, it looked like she was just trying to crimp the rightmost section of the hold. Might be more appropriate to treat it like a pinch. But altogether, she's on track. Emiliano moving smooth through these volumes. And for note, the two lower blocks volumes do have holds underneath them. Pretty good hold on the leftmost one, which you have to use to start. 3 minutes left on the clock. Not quite sticking the reach out. Not quite making it happen. 2 minutes, 23 seconds left. Emiliano taking a bit of a breather, but he knows for sure that this climb has already seen a top and he wants to stay in contention. If you want to follow along with the scores, do like I'm doing. You can go to ifsc-climbing.org. Click the link for competition and hit the calendar button. Scroll down till you find the Panamerican Youth Championships. And you can look for the categories male B Boulder and female B Boulder to see these scores being updated from the judges on the floor as the attempts come in for the most part, or at the very least after their 4 minutes are done. Emiliano going for a big reach but not able to control that crimp. Paige again going and getting confident on the bonus, but her left hand keeps slipping off the leftmost volume, so she's just swinging right out. 1 minute, 30 seconds left. And the crowd's getting packed here. Of course, you can always come down as a spectator. We'd love to have you make some noise for these climbers. Not just for today, but for the following days in speed, difficulty, and in combined on Sunday. If you're around, consider coming out. And if not, at least tell your friends that the live stream is happening. We'd love to have as many viewers as possible and introduce lots of people to the sport of climbing. 58 seconds left. We'll see if Melo can get this done on M3. But again, not quite keeping it together to get the right hand up to those last holds. 46 seconds left. Paige just popping off at the start. Going to have to decide if she wants to go again with 40 seconds left.
Every single ounce. 30 seconds, guys. Let's go. Come on, people. You don't have anything else to do right now except cheer.
Pete Woods from Alberta getting the crowd loud.
Come on, Melo. Paige, what do you think?
Emiliano trying to make it happen where he hasn't managed to do it before. Let's see if he can get this thing going, but really exposed to a barn door in this position. Gets behind the crimp, but the weight swinging out to the right is enough to pull him off, and with 13 seconds left, he chooses to back off. Paige, meanwhile, goes for the bonus again, but can't quite stick that reach. Paige and Emiliano will be done with problem 3, but we'll see them one more time on problem number 4 in just a little while. Coming out next, both from the United States. On the women's side, Marielle Horseman, and from the men, Colin Duffy.
tough stuff. Absolutely. Yes, Colin. Yes.
Colin Duffy starting up on those little crimps on the underside of those blocks volumes. Cutting feet a bit. Now bumping up to those volumes. Marielle moving nice and slow on women's number 3. Trying to sort out how she wants to get the bonus, and yeah, just to make it go where Paige before it didn't quite stick. Colin moving slow and steady through the upper parts of this and feeling confident enough to rest off some tiny little holds. Marielle trying to press herself into the corner, getting the left foot up to achieve the second last hold, and Colin Duffy with one hand on the finish. Gonna knock that thing out with another top and a bit of a head nod. Great work from Colin. And he is really in the fight, but he's got to keep the tops pumping if he wants to achieve a high score, because of course Guy McNamee from Canada has already got 3 flashes, the clear leader so far. And Marielle Horseman knocks out an excellent top on women's number 3 as well.
That's what I needed to do. Did it. Grown man in that ring, absolutely. All right, Ethan, Sienna, come on down. Scorecards are all balled up. We're going to start laminating eventually.
Now out from the United States, we have Sienna Kopf and Ethan Freudenheim. Sienna going probably a little too dynamic for that move, while Ethan gets his entire body over to the left side of the problem, which makes it a little bit hard to grab those holds. 3 minutes, 21 seconds left.
Make sure they're holding on so you can really squeeze on. Let's go, Sienna. Just solid. All right, keep that up.
Ethan cruising through this section, and so long as he can maybe make the match to get the top, then we're going to have another top on this thing. Ethan Freudenheim looking excellent. Going to be very happy about getting that. Fist bump to the crowd, and they'll be moving into problem number 4 in an excellent place. 2 minutes and 43 seconds left on the clock. All of these problems throughout the bouldering section of the week have been chiefed by the chief setter for bouldering, Simon Parton from here in Canada, and his assistant chief setter from Argentina, Antonio Moya, with consultancy help from Chris Danielson of the United States, and a large team of setters who I'll talk about later. But for now, Sienna getting the foot up on bonus real high. If you're unsure, you don't achieve the bonus score by using your foot. You do have to use it with your hands, but maybe it just helps her get stable, and there's the bonus for her. Swinging around, and some incredible shoulder mobility on display there. My arms would have broken clear off if I ended up in that position. But now we're in a beautiful rest, getting her weight in the corner. Straight arm, conserving a bit of energy and trying to make it up to the top, which at this point, so long as she's not too frantic, should be able to secure this down with 1 minute and 40 seconds left. Excellent top from Sienna Kopf, and she's clearly happy with a fist bump and a smile. The Americans getting behind her. Great work from Sienna. We're on to now our top qualifiers from yesterday. Walking around, looking at a bunch of judges just expressing motions of pain after watching that shoulder work. See some adults who that would have just completely knocked them out if they had to deal with it. P. Woods also pointed out pretty wild motions from Sienna. Probably one of the highlights for the morning. Now your first place qualifiers in Xander Waller and Nikaya Sanders.
Xander still brushing his own holds. train rolling. Smooth.
Nakaya already getting up there on women's 3.
Smooth. Get up. Oh, yes. Yes, yes.
Nakaya looking excellent, getting into that same rest position we just saw from Sienna.
Taking a breath. Come on, Z. Yeah, Nakaya. Solid, Xander. Come on, Z.
Xander also looking great coming up on men's 3. Just trying to sort out how he wants to work his hands.
Yes, Nakaya.
And Nakaya securing a slow and steady top. Great job from Nakaya with the flash.
So Team USA has been working on their muscle ups, obviously. Exactly as that was set. All right, team. Tons of time.
2 minutes, 20 seconds left, and a crew of American climbers behind Xander. Lucky number 7.
Yes. Sweet.
Looking good. We're going to get up to where he was before. And at this point, when you get your left hand on the top, you kind of need your right hand on the leftmost hold he's holding right now, but he's going to go for the bump, so just completely nullifying everything I just said. He gets the top, showing me up as well. Excellent job from Xander to finish out men's 3. Now we're going to be moving on to the final problem. So the only hope for some of these climbers is to secure a top on 4 and hope that Babette doesn't achieve it, but Babette looking like she's got an excellent position.
Are you guys ready?
And of course for the boys, Guy McNamara with 3 flashes so far, the clear lead. If he gets a top on this thing, he will likely be unmatchable for the top spot. Out now, Guy McNamara and Ali Nishi from the United States. Problem number 4, featuring an upside down start for the girls into this sloping rail. They'll then have to turn themselves around into a couple of pinches and slopers by the corner, and then using some tiny little feet to secure that finished sloper up at the top. For the boys, we're dealing with some Kamiki and Escape dual text holds, trying to walk across some fairly sheer volumes. All those crimps on the wall are sloping crimps, so not a lot of security even as you're holding them. Getting up into the corner and getting into a little slot between 2 Kamiki pie slices. Ali looking excellent, getting to the penultimate hold on women's number 4 with 3 minutes and 4 seconds remaining. She would love to finish this off with a flash. And gets one hand on it, but learns just how bad that hold is. That hold is normally facing the other way. The side facing downwards is a pretty juggy sloper, I guess you could say. There's a lot of in-cut, but in this case it's the worst side facing up, so you really need to make sure the rest of your body's in control if you want to get both hands up there. But Ali knows that now, and so on her next attempt, I'm sure she'll change her approach. Guy falls off on men's 4, which means we won't get his 4th flash of the day, but that probably won't end up being much of a problem. We'll see if he can sort this out. And of course, the boys, for the most part, have been getting lots of tops on all the problems so far. Maybe men's 4 could end up being a bit of a shutdown for a lot of them, as the style changes pretty drastically. It's the big slab problem for them, using very sheer feet. Previously, they did a couple of slab moves out on men's number 2, but this one is 100p slab. A lot of dual text holds that you just can't step on because they're so slick. And Ali just looking a little bit shaky, but she's in a secure spot here where she can compress between those 2 big features. Guy McNamee getting up to the bonus and looking excellent. So long as he can keep the feet together for this section, he shouldn't have a problem.
This time.
Ali also just 1 move away from the finish, which she tried last time but slipped off with 1 hand on it. We'll see if she can go a little bit more controlled to earn that top this time. She's really got to trust her right foot.
Oh, come on, Ali.
Let's see if she can make it go. Crouching back down to her rest position. Ali gets one hand, Guy gets one hand, Ali gets two, and Guy gets two. Guy McNamee finishing the round with 4 tops and 5 attempts, looking like an unbeatable score. So I don't want to declare anything too early. Technically, these results are also unofficial, so I'm not going to say anything, but his countryman and announcer, Pete Woods, give him the high five and a rare smile from Guy out on the floor. I think he knows how good a position he is in. But I feel like I'm going to jinx it if I declare anything too soon, so I'll just say excellent work from Guy McNamee, and you can follow along with the scores and do the calculations yourself at ifsc-climbing.org. Avoid the results tab. That'll usually only show you results from comps that are already finished. Instead, go to the calendar tab, and you can find the results for this event by each category. Out now, Nathan Surma from the United States and Babette Roy from Canada. Babette also currently in the lead in the B women's category. If she gets a top on this one, as far as I can tell from these scores, which of course are unofficial and may change, Babette should have a rock solid lead if she gets this top. In fact, it's possible that Babette has already got this thing locked down, but just going off my phone right now, all the results are out of alignment, and I don't want to misspeak and get any family members excited.
Just hold our breath for a second.
But Babette and her fellow climbers from Montreal and Quebec and Canada should be really excited for this excellent performance from her so far today. We'll see Babette get into some upside down territory. She's going to try and get out of that beta real fast by matching up on a start hold, which is impressive by itself. Campus is through the first move, showing some clear strength and securing the bonus real early on her flash attempt. Coming into another pinch, which is a sloper on top and a bit of an in-cut for your thumb on the bottom. Seeing if she can secure this in-cut dish and getting to the most comfortable spot on the climb where you can just lay back on your arms. Nathan Surma in the exposed slab section of this, just stepping on that EP volume as he has to make his traverse around. While Babette is so close to this finish, considering her options with some high feet, she may even skip that little hold. Gets one hand on the undercling, might not be enough to hold her. She's going to back off for the moment at least. Tries to get the hand over the top, but the purchase is a little further back. I doubt she'll be able to match from this position. She may have to reconsider. But she's looking excellent. She gets the match for the flash on women's number 4. Great work from Babette. Huge smiles. Excellent job from the Canadians today. Guy qualifying in 6th and Babette in 5th. And we may just see them flipping up to the number 1 spots. Looking over at head coach from Canada, Chris Neve, clearly looking happy. Trying to catch his breath, but definitely proud of those athletes. Over on men's number 4, Nathan Surma from the United States. Trying to work out the first half of this, hopefully to achieve the bonus on men's number 4. But talk about tiny holds, and aside from them being small, most of their surface is actually glossy slick, so you only have very small areas where you can actually squeeze them. Those holds are made by Escape Climbing. My mistake. Not quite getting himself sorted out to bring the left foot out to the left low volume. P. Woods taking a picture of the crowd. And Canadian photographer Ken Chow down on the floor, getting shots of the audience and the climbers. If you don't follow Ken Chow, find him on Facebook. He's got excellent photos from a lot of the international youth comps. Great to see him here in Montreal. Nathan finding a bit of a chill area in the corner there to rest, but just comes off with 46 seconds left. Running out of time on the last problem for Nathan on M4. Got to make some magic happen. He's got to make it happen fast. Still hasn't got bonus. That would be a big score for him with only 32 seconds left. Probably all he can hope for. Try some alternate beta going out to the foothold, then reaching up to the crimp, trying to get a high heel on this really scoury volume. 21 seconds left. They're actually making it look good, getting further than he has before. So long as he can keep himself from swinging out, he might just get bonus here. Looking strained with 14 seconds and pops off. Not going to get the bonus on his last attempt with 10 seconds to go. Excellent work from Nathan Surma. A great show for us in finals here at the B finals of the Panamerican Youth Championships in Montreal, hosted at Horizon Rock. Our next athletes coming out from the United States, we have Emiliano Espinoza Dominguez, and from Canada, Paige Boklaschuk. Pete Woods and Paige Boklaschuk there side by side on the mats. Both of them from the same province, so they know each other pretty well. Pete giving his own style of encouragement, which gets the climbers relaxed and excited to get on these climbs. This entire event run by volunteers and folks from across Canada and also from across North and South America, and a few from around the world. Thanks to everybody involved in this. Paige looking great so far on her flash attempt, getting up beyond bonus. If she gets this next hold, she'll be in the most stable section of the climb. It gives her a chance to think and relax a little bit before confronting the really daunting finish hold. Emiliano sorting out how he's going to approach these tiny crimps when he's exposed for a barn door. Paige goes for the finish a bit too fast. And as we learned from Ali's attempts, it's definitely something you want to go to slowly if you want to get that top.
All right. Not quite.
2 minutes, 39 seconds left on the clock for these climbers. Mello, as we call him, down on men's four, just taking a quick break as he gets back on. Paige Boklaschuk struggling a little bit where she hadn't before, but a good time to rest and reconsider. 2 minutes, 5 seconds left on the clock.
You just got to put everything you have into it. Everything you got. Let's go, Mello.
Paige back up, back at the bonus. She's already got that. She's hoping for the conversion. Hopefully turn that B into a T. And Emiliano Espinoza Dominguez trying to achieve the bonus on this really tricky men's number 4. The boys haven't really been forced to go into hands-free slab quite yet. They got some fairly static standing slab on men's number 2, but this is their biggest test of how they handle their feet with thin holds on an incline angle.
Come on, you're not tired. Don't think about that at all. Just go.
Paige going into the upside down start of women's 4. 1 minute, 4 seconds remaining. They hear that timer and the climbers instantly get a rise in their blood pressure, knowing that the time is really counting down. And as this is their last problem of the entire bouldering event here at Pan Ams, there's no reason for them to not get back on the wall and hope for the best. Emiliano making it happen. I think he's going to achieve bonus. He's right there at the very least. Hopefully we don't get any unlucky foot slips. And there's bonus from Mello. Paige looking good. 29 seconds left on the clock for these climbers. Emiliano getting close. So long as he doesn't rush, he's under pressure and he can see the timer. He knows there's only 22 seconds left, but if there's a time to make it happen, it's now. You don't get any extension. When it hits 0, you are done, and Emiliano gets popped off. Paige feeling the pressure as well. Maybe doesn't keep it together on that throw, but excellent effort from Paige Boklaschuk and Emiliano. They did great work all weekend, earning a spot in semifinals after qualifiers and then making it through to finals after an insanely tough semifinals round. So glad to have them here in finals representing their country. Now we'll move on to 2 Americans, Marielle Horseman and Colin Duffy. As Paige calls them, the Duff stuff. Colin Duffy, an interesting athlete to watch. He's had a long string of often being the national champion in the United States, so he's very aware of what winning feels like, and he probably feels like coming to this, which is his first Pan Am Championships. Probably has high expectations for himself. Very interesting to see how he manages that. He's shown visible displays of frustration and happiness with certain performances, and with somebody as experienced as him competing at these high levels. It's neat to see how they deal with different encounters. Marielle trying the same beta that Babette Roy used earlier, where after the start she immediately gets out of the upside down beta and goes straight to a campus up to that rail. Whatever works for you.
There you go, Marielle.
Oh, Marielle gets a solid bonus, but the foot slides off, and she's down. 2 minutes, 40 seconds remaining on the clock. Colin Duffy really extended, reaching the little screw on that hex volume. Or that pentagon volume, I guess. Stepping up on a side pull, dual text hold. Very little space to fit your feet, but he's making it happen. I'm sure he's stepped on even smaller things in the past. Probably including earlier in this comp on men's number 2.
Nice, Marielle.
Colin making it over, getting the weight really onto his left shoulder, but something pops off and clamping his head in his hands. Not happy with how that went. Meanwhile, Marielle's starting to look solid, and if she can secure this hold, she's going to be in a comfortable spot. Nice compression with both arms around the corner, so you can kind of chill out a little bit. And now you just contemplate how you're going to deal with this final hold, which Marielle has yet to be introduced to. She might not know just how bad it is. 1 minute, 30 seconds left. Hoping she goes nice and controlled, otherwise she might just be confronted with a sloper that is probably worse than she expected. Colin Duffy back on the wall with 1 minute and 16 seconds left, but pop back off.
Come on, dude, deep, right down to the bottom. What do you got in there? One minute. Come on, Colin. It's all right, it's all right. Come on, dude, you got one more in you. I know it. I know it. Come on, people. Come on, Colin. Let's go, brother. All right. Come on,
Colin getting back on, as well as Marielle with 39 seconds left.
Yes, Colin. Heck yeah. Come on, Marielle.
See what we can do as the clock ticks down.
30 seconds.
30 seconds remaining.
Come on.
And the pressure is on for these climbers. Looking a little desperate on that throw to the hold around the corner. 20 seconds remaining for Colin and Marielle. Marielle showing some signs of looking pretty tired. And Colin knows the pressure's on with 10 seconds left. Marielle just punts the finish, and Colin trying not to get out of control, but he hears the finish buzzer and he's contemplating what to do, thinking about going dynamic, but can't quite make it happen. And that'll finish their round at bouldering finals at the Pan American Youth Championships. And we're down to our final 4 climbers.
Setters to the speed wall. Please and thank you. All the road setters. Les joueurs jusqu'au mur de vitesse. Ethan. Sienna. 4 minutes.
And our next climbers out is Sienna Cup and Ethan Freudenheim.
2 left. After this.
Both of these climbers had some excellent stuff going on in the last climbs. Ethan just an emotive guy all around. Love to see him getting tops. And Sienna with maybe the highlight of this round. Just an unbelievable show of young flexibility as her shoulders got put into a really unbelievable position that hopefully somebody got a photo of, because it'll knock you out. Sienna getting up real high, real quick.
Yes, Ethan.
It's only into this round, about 38 seconds, but Misses the finish. Not quite sure how bad it is, but with so much time left, 3 minutes, 15 seconds, she's definitely got lots of opportunities to fix that mistake. And of course, we talked about how these climbers did have an opportunity to preview these problems, but of course, you never know how the highest holds feel. But Ethan making it look easy on the flash attempt. One hand on the finish, gets the 2. Talk about a happy kid slamming the wall and flailing like a bit of a psychopath, but all around, kid's got to be happy. Clearly excited about his performance. Congratulations to Ethan and all of his family watching. What a great finish to Ethan today at the Pan American Bouldering Championships. Hopefully that reflects an excellent placing for him. 2 minutes, 34 seconds left for Sienna Kopp. Surely somebody else will have a grin from ear to ear if she can make this thing go down. She knows how bad the sloper is, so she's probably going to try different peta, and she uses that stretchability for a secure top from low down. Big ol' smile, a high five from the MC, and very psyched to see her score confirmed by the judges. And we are down to our final climbers of the round of the B bouldering finals at the Pan American Youth Championships. Running across the mats, Nakaya Sanders and Xander Waller, your top qualifiers coming into this round.
4 minutes. What can you guys show us? All right, Z.
Nakaya getting started nice and quick. Looks like she's going to go for the campus beta through the start as well. She is going to have to match that tiny little hold, which is something that would be pretty tough at the adult level. But these kids born 2002 and 2003 have the little fingers that can make it happen. An outsized talent for their age, making it to the finals of this international competition. Beating out climbers from 10 countries from across these continents. Nakaya gets a bonus on her first attempt. Into the more confident position where you can oppose those 2 holds comfortably. And Xander trying to work his way out of the right corner, get himself into the face of this slab area. Nakaya trying a high heel, which is probably a little less reliable than you'd hope. That big feature in her right hand is only gently scooped and doesn't provide that much friction if you're trying to step down on it. Goes for a bit of a pop, but like the girls before her, learns that that sloper is utter garbage, and you're going to have to treat it with some respect if you want to earn the top. Xander making it happen over on men's number 4. But still got a sort of way to get his weight out without relying on that nice foothold on the right. It's probably one of the last secure holds where you feel comfortable standing on. See him putting a lot of weight on it. 2 minutes, 7 seconds left. I want to thank you guys for watching. These are our final climbers of this round. We're going to be back at 3 o'clock for the A bouldering finals. We're going to be earning more Pan Am Continental Championship places. And then also those are the kids that'll be fighting to earn a spot to the Youth Olympic Games. This is just the first step in that process. Kai getting that high foot, got her tongue out. I love seeing the little ticks of all of these climbers. They've all got their own style when they're concentrating and trying really hard. Tongue out's one of the common ones. Kaya looking good and really hoping that she figures out alternative to the big throw from last time. I'd love to see a top, but again, asking a little too much of that hold, which is really going to give you nothing. That holds the gatekeeper. It's only letting you through with enough respect. 51 seconds left on the clock.
There you go. There you go. Now we're moving. All right. Yes,
Let's see what Xander can do on his final climb of the day. He was the only kid from semifinals in the B-boys to actually complete all 4 problems. In fact, he was the only climber across all of the categories to complete all 4 problems in his semifinal. So he came in with a fire, and we'd love to see him finish up today like he finished up yesterday with a beautiful top. 14 seconds left for these guys. It is now or never for Nakaya and Xander. Nakaya getting close, and again, 7 seconds left. You can't let the pressure go to your head. You got to make the smart decisions. Nakaya pops off. Xander gets it. 1 second left. Both hands to see if the judges give it, and the judges give it up to Xander. Wrapping up our B finals with what appears to be a top from the judges, although they are contemplating. 3 judges at the station having to discuss it. There was no technical issue, so there'll be no reason for him to climb it again, but the judges do have to decide if they're going to give it to him.